Hello everybody, Shadow SP here. Today I'm going to talk about a topic that, well, pretty much everyone's going to want to hear about at some point, and that is Row 4 and EX2 classes. There'll also be, afterwards, a progress update. That's kind of what I've been up to. But for now, let's get into the real meat and potatoes of the video and look at Row 4 classes. EXII classes are much the same, but they are slightly different in terms of how they unlock. Now, we've already got Relic Buster. Relic Buster is an unusual class in Row 4, in that it only requires that you buy those items from the shop to unlock it. Every other class requires a trophy, some distinctions, and some CP. And that trophy, we'll just click on a random class here, we'll see, oh yeah, it requires that you have done some work in class champion weapons. And that's the same over here in EX2. Right, we have to do class champion weapons. So, what are class champion weapons? Well, they're weapons that have specific effects that are designed to be main-handed by a specific class. They have no real effects outside of that. For the most part, none of these weapons are used, except for the Kengo one. All the other weapons, I mean, there's a couple that have some niche use cases, like the Kanabo for Monk is decent, and the bow for Robin Hood is okay. But for the most part, class champion weapons are a means to an end. And the end is the class itself. So let's take a look at class champion weapons real quick. Alright, so in the weapons series tab here, class champion weapons is the first one on the list. So let's take a click on that. And you'll see there is a class champion weapon for every class. And when you get down to the more recent Row 4 classes, there are multiple class champion weapons for each class that has multiple weapon specialties. Like Kanabo and Ranged Arm Guards are both for Monk, but Sherwood Bow is the only one for Robin Hood because that class only has bow specialty. Alright, so now we need to talk a little bit about the difference between Row 4 and EX2 classes. So the quests for the trophies that you need for Row 4 classes are unlocked by completing the element change step of the class champion weapon forge process on any class champion weapon. But for an EX2 class, the quest is only unlocked for that specific class that you have completed the element change step for. So that means that forging an an extra class champion weapon is 100% absolutely the way to go. Now, I've already done something. I purchased some Murakumo replicas, but I'm going to go ahead and do the same over here with the Faust. Now, Faust is the class champion weapon that goes from Alchemist to its EX2 class counterpart, Doctor. And you can get these either from rare drops and co-op quests, or you can just trade pendants. It didn't used to be so easy to get these. They used to have a limited cap, and had some. I think it was in a different part of the shop. It wasn't just pendants. But at this point, they're traded for 500 pendants, like the low-level pendants, and they restock every month. So there's no real reason not to just buy your copies from here and uncap them that way. Which is great, because this account is going to be very short on steel bricks, which we need in pretty large quantities. Alright, So let's go ahead and trade out for the Faust. Alright, so basically now we have Faust. You get a little cutscene when you start the quest. And you'll see we have to engage in some processes to upgrade this weapon. Now, we'll have to get to level 75, but that only requires, you know, leveling it up a little bit, putting some experience into it, uncapping it, whatever. Class champion weapons, their skills don't have skill levels, so you don't really have to worry about doing anything with that. And it's relatively easy to get them to max level. Yeah, so outside of that, we have something that, again, we were very intent on doing earlier, which is clash materials. Creeds, depending on if it's classed as a mage class or a warrior class, you'll have mage creeds or warrior creeds. And, you know, antique cloth, which there's a very specific free quest for that. It's very expensive, but it drops a decent amount of the stuff. Outside of that, yeah, it's fairly straightforward. Blue sky crystals are pretty expensive for this account at this point. So, you know, Faust and everything, that'll be on the back burner. I think I'm going to probably focus on the Murakumo, because this weapon is one that actually ends up getting used. So it makes sense to try to get that first, and with that weapon unlocked, even though it's an EX weapon, you know, an extra class weapon, it'll still unlock all the row 4 classes. Now we still need a ton of CP for that, but it's still part of the process. So taking a look at this, right, it's very similar to the other one, except this one has warrior creeds. You know, where we're looking at light materials instead of earth materials because it's a light weapon. And when you can look at stats after foraging, it just turns into an SSR. Essentially, this is set up as a weapon for the samurai class. And there's a couple steps that you have to go through. You don't have to fully finish the weapon. You just have to get it to its element change step, which is one step before finishing. So essentially, we are at step 0. We need to fill up step 1, 2, 3. Step 4 would come later, and is not really all that important for unlocking classes. So that's pretty good. We're now the problem with EXII classes, right? Like I mentioned, is that you need to make every one of these class champion weapons. And that's going to be very expensive for this account. So getting EX2 classes is going to be something we have to really think about. Right? Do we need this class for any specific purpose? And I think that of the classes that we have, the one that's most likely to see use is Kangbo. So that's the one I'm probably going to go for. I think the second most likely is Doctor, just because we are pretty low on heavy heal options, and Doctor gets a lot of green potions, which, unlike your standard healing skills, aren't really restricted by your healing cap. So I'm pretty sure that if I'm going to make 2 class champion weapons, it'd be these 2. Alright, so let's talk a bit, now that I've talked about that, just, you know, do a quick summary of what I've been up to. It's been a little while since I've actually recorded a video, because we've done a lot of progress stuff. I've just kind of been casually doing some progression. I managed to get all my Colossus Canes to 3 stars. It's pretty nice. I mean, I'm taking advantage of the rotating drop rate thing, or the rotating extra chest. I realize that sounds like it's completely counter to what the mission statement of the account is, and it kind of is, but I can't take it out of the game, so I may as well take advantage of it. Because the only other option is don't join or host those raids. Alright, let's see. I've started farming the merits from the side stories to work on uncapping characters. I've got basically all the ones with their 5-star uncaps that we're going to be able to uncap to 4 stars. I need to do some more farming for the Love Live characters and their side stories, but Lelouch doesn't need any extra farming, so he'll be uncapped to 5 stars pretty quickly. I've also done similar things with the SRs that we're actually using. It'll take more. It's just more work. It's just a little bit of extra things to do with the AP. You know, now that we've reached a point where I kind of want to get the smaller gains, where we're kind of moving toward optimized setups. At least with what we've got. Let's see. I farmed enough to uncap Varus. I'd love to uncap it another time. It's way better once you uncap it the 5th time. But for now, we're stuck with it as it is, because I think it was... Yeah, it requires some stuff that we really can't access right now. Lucky for us, now that we've done clashes, we can get stones and stuff from the clash shops. So that's pretty nice when you're trying to look for a specific kind of weapon stone, and you don't have a lot of that kind of weapon lying around from side swords. Now we can pick up a lot of those from clash shops, which is great, because otherwise we would have shortages of important weapon stones. Basically, I'm going to try to remember to pick up at least the cheap set of the weapon stones every month before they reset, as long as I'm playing the account. Yeah, I've also completed in what am I doing? Yeah, I've also mastered Ninja and Samurai, and I have completed in co-op, and this is fully solo. I've completed up to tier 5. Which is great because there are no requirements for EX1 classes past tier 4. So we have officially made it to the stage where once we reach the amount of CP and mats and everything, we can master all the EX1 classes. That's great because that's a bunch of extra abilities and a bunch of extra stats for the main character that will come in just so much handy moving forward. So yeah, I don't really think there's that much more to talk about. We didn't get anything particularly special. Oh yeah, I should actually say we've gotten some decent luck with Xeno weapon drops. It's only been a few days, and we've got. Sorry, you'll have to forgive me. I don't remember exactly where all of the buttons are. We've gotten it to this stage so far. I've got the wind one and the dark one skilled up. My plan is to outfit dark and get the dark grid as built up as possible. I have a reason for it, and I don't really want to spoil it right now, but if you know why, you might be able to. You might have a guess as to why, if you're thinking about things we have access to at this stage in the game. And my need to clear Proto Bahamut before moving on to, you know, higher level stuff. Right? Because until we can clear Proto Bahamut, the Proto Bahamut raid over here, we're kind of stuck in the standard raid tab. Because we can't move on to here. All of these require Proto Bahamut. All of these, except for Rose Queen, require a raid from this series. All of these require a raid from this series. These require hosting mats that we can't really access all that well, right? So we're really stuck in the standard raid tab until we get through Proto Bahamut. And that's going to be pretty tough. Our grid is not very strong. Our light grid especially. I have some plans. I have some thoughts on the matter. And we'll see how well that works out. I don't really want to say too much about it until we get to the actual theory crafting part. But I have a few plans, right? So if the first one fails, we've got some extra steps that we can take to make it better, make more progress, I guess. All right. So I think that'll about cover it. If anyone watched to the end, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Otherwise, well, you're not going to hear the message, but still, I hope you found the information about the EXII classes and Pro 4 classes to be useful. Yeah, thanks for watching. It's been a few days for me. It's been no days for you, because I've had a pretty big backlog of finishing up progression milestones, kind of really back to back to back. But yeah. Anyway, it's been Shadow SP. Thanks for watching. Again, I'm talking around myself in circles. Signing off. See you next time.